Hello, anyone who's watching. And I forgot to show my chat window. Let me put that up there so I can see comments and reactions. There we go. All right, after the weird snafu yesterday with the stuttering audio, I found that it was Logic that was doing it. Apparently, there was something to do with the Logic 11.2 update. I had to basically have it reinstall or refresh the path to all the plugins, and I was able to create the problem and then do that, and the problem seems to be solved afterwards, and that was horrible. So I want to check in a real-time thing when I'm actually streaming out to the world whether that stays consistently good, hopefully, at least for the relatively short duration of this stream. And I want to talk to whoever is here once people are here about the feasibility of maybe adding an ad at the intermission when I'm not going to be here for 7 minutes. And you'll be able to chat to each other, maybe make a little bit of money off these things without being intrusive and having constant ads. I hate those videos where every couple minutes there's an ad. Every couple minutes there's an ad, or the sponsor stuff and all that stuff. Hey, Andy, how you doing? So I'm going to just go through the settings I was trying to use yesterday and see if the problems go away. And I've got these headphones here where I can monitor what's being broadcast to you guys. If I do this and then hit this button, I should be able to hear everything that's going out. Of course, I'm not hearing it. Why am I not hearing it? Let's see. These are things I need to know. All right, so if I have options, where is the thing? Output, audio monitor on. Now I should be hearing. I should be hearing, but I'm not hearing. Why am I not hearing that? That's really strange. Oh, I know why. Duh. All right. I'll tell you why. See, these are the things I've got to work out. Best laid plans. I have a Chrome thing open that tells me what the health of the stream is on my channel, and because all right, it's muted there. All right, now it's working. Now it's working. So I can hear what's going on with the stream with this. But if I take these off, then I don't hear it because there's like a 47 millisecond delay, which is frustrating. Probably closer to 50 something milliseconds because it's going from that program to this program out to the world. So when I make a transition, at least for this stream, I can check on the health of the output with this. But I didn't have the browser window minimized. Muted. So I had to mute the output of the whole thing. I've got it set up so that my system now does have output. It's just not sending anything right now. So let me try to do this correctly for you guys. These are the behind the scenes things that I need to get ironed out so everything is smooth. So here, if I'm doing a stream and I'm just noodling on electric or acoustic on the bench, it just sounds like this. I'm under no illusions that anyone comes to this channel for guitar instruction. But occasionally it is useful to make a point, and they are my security blanket like Linus, just sit here in front of the world. It's much better to noodle, even if you guys are just hearing that level of just the strings. But yesterday I was trying to show both amp sounds and the digital stuff. Hey, me, we're not doing amp questions today. That was yesterday. This is trying to get the sound right for those main live streams. But yeah, it is. It's not too difficult to retension a tube socket. I've shown that in a lot of videos. Basically, you need to have some jeweler's tools. I use a jeweler's screwdriver set, and I use a dental pick. And once the amp is powered off with no power applied. So let me turn on this 65 Deluxe Reverb and connect the microphone to my interface. And let that warm up a little bit. We should be at a good level there. There's no problem with me. Usually that's why I'm here. But yesterday, when I was trying to answer questions for everyone, we had a really bad audio glitch, and my system showed everything was fine. The load on the CPUs, the processing, all that was fine. So I didn't have any indication on my end, and I thought, well, maybe it's another problem with YouTube servers, and it wasn't. And I'm also trying to get the levels really consistent and as loud as possible without sounding unnatural, and it's been tricky. So right now we've got the guitar into the amp. So that's what the amp sounds like. But if I switch over from this mic only to also having that mic on the show, then as the reverb trails off, the gate that I'll have on this, not really a gate, it's ducking, will turn off, and then you'll have reverb from both amps. And at the very end of a reverb trail, it'll get louder. I'll show you the problem, then I'll show you the solution. So let me turn on the amp mic and set a level for it. And turn on some plugins, some pre's and compressions that I have set for the amp mic. So now, as I speak, this mic is on. As I play, this mic is off. So I'll talk while playing. Oh, if I turn on the ducker. Then you hear me talk when I stop. But the issue now is so you get the two things happening at once. And even if I'm turning the guitar to shorten the decay, so we're not sitting here waiting a minute for the sustain to stop, because nice guitar, nice amp. I'm gonna turn the reverb off on the amp. And shit, see, this is another thing. I had a Tonex patch on. That's where the reverb is coming from. I already had the reverb off on the amp, sorry. This is what the amp sounds like. I thought that sounded awfully wet. All right, try this. Turn the pre down a little bit now that the output is better. All right, we'll try this again. So here's the reverb of the amp as it trails off. And so you get a little carryover, especially if I turn it up. And so for live use, and I'll get to the questions that have been asked already, just a second. For live use, I have found that it is easier to get a good sound if I use this plugin reverb in post. So as this level goes down, it doesn't ping pong between the mics for the reverb sound. And I don't hear the reverb, but you guys do. But I don't need to hear reverb. So let's see what questions I have. Oh yeah, thank you, Greg. I appreciate that. I mean, I hate ads. I have premium, so I don't see the ads anymore. But I have my other account where I do see ads, and I loathe them. But that's why YouTube exists, is not for me to talk to you about Telecasters and such. It exists to show you ads. And they give me a very small percentage, very small, compared to all the work the creators put into these things. So if I were to turn on ads at the intermission, and do any of you guys get ads? I'm gonna do a fake intermission and put an ad in, and then come out of the intermission after 30 seconds, and you guys tell me how intrusive that was. And I'll have to watch this back, signed in as a different person to see. So we're going to go to a fake intermission. And that's long enough for me to watch on playback and see if there was an ad, if the ad was skipping 4, 3, 2, 1, and after the ad, if it was back to being synced, because people often aren't watching these things live and they don't know how to click the live button. Well, Andy, do you have premium, or do you usually get ads? Did anyone see an ad there? Because it told me that it was putting an ad in there. I hate that I don't see what's being broadcast from YouTube's end of things. Let me try a different ad here in the middle of the regular intermission. But you guys normally, all right, Than04 said an ad popped up. Okay. And I wish I could control what the ads were for. Most ads are for absolute bullshit. Tony saw an ad. Okay. Well, you're not going to see an ad if you have premium, guys, or if you have one of the YouTube music services and stuff. Maybe it chooses what percentage of users to show an ad. I don't know. I'll watch this back and say, hey, Stepford, yeah, ad block is good too, from our perspective, from YouTube's perspective, and from my perspective, trying to make a little money off the side hustle with the videos. Ads are great, but I have made a promise at the beginning of this channel not to be one of those channels that subjects you to ads. The only ads I've ever allowed are the ones at the very beginning or very end of a video, and they're usually the skipping 4, 3, 2, 1 kind. But as the live streams get popular, and I'm doing 3 hours when I do one, I figured if I'm doing 2 7-minute intermissions, that'd be a way to make a little more money off of it without ruining anyone's day or breaking my big promise. Still no ads in the middle of, hey, don't miss this important part about how you can make your amp not blow up, and then all of a sudden it goes to click here to enlarge your stuff. So, all right. So anyway, all that aside, this is what a Telecaster straight into a deluxe reverb sounds like, with a good plate resistor, not plate resistor. Worlds collide. Worlds collide. I forgot when I make any sound on the guitar, it cuts my voice out. Anyway, with a good plate reverb added to it. And where things went really wrong yesterday is when I tried to go from that to the digital stuff. And the digital stuff is an excellent practice tool, etc. And let me put this down for a second. I find it interesting both that a lot of older guys think that digital stuff just flat out has to suck and cannot possibly be useful. And a lot of younger guys tend to think that digital's just freaking awesome and that it sounds every bit as good as the real amps, which is also not true. They are useful things, and it's nice to have them in one's arsenal, especially for practice or for just getting a quick variety of sounds, but they do not sound like or feel like real amps, at least not yet. The fractal stuff is really damn close, though. The fractal stuff is coming on the heels. So if I push this button, I'm going to see if my sound just went all to hell or not. As I speak, and I need to hear myself. Where was that button? Did I do that? No? Here it is. Now. Oh. Sorry. Behind the scenes stuff. This is tougher than it looks. All right, now I can hear. I'm not having. So that's good. So I'm going to turn that stuff off and let me hear the guitar without the lag. And this is what, if I were to go back and edit this, hey, this is what a Telecaster sounds like straight into a deluxe reverb. This is what a Telecaster sounds like straight into, in this case, the Tonex model capture of a deluxe reverb. So for practice, or learners, or backup, or versatility, you stick one of these in your gig bag in case you blow a tube or something. These things are amazing, and compared to the stuff I started off with, the gorillas of the world. Though I do think if I were a guitar teacher and I had young students trying to learn how to play guitar and they had these things, I would want to say, hey, yeah, this does all those crazy sounds. Turn all that off and just practice like this. Just give yourself a little bit of reverb. You don't need stereo ping pong delay and reharmonizers and 10-second reverbs and stuff. But this is what I was trying to show yesterday, and instead, as soon as I turned on the button that turned this digital source on, the entire world went stuttery, jittery, echoey hell. It was weird. It was making the voice echo and jitter and stutter. And I had no indication on my end that there was any problem. And I, after doing all that, in Logic, there's a Performance Master view where I can see the number of processing threads. And the first thread, which is always active whenever the program is on, went from about 40-something% to about 27 to 30% of the 6 threads that this processor has. So even so, I don't think when it was having the problem that it was really stressing my CPU at all. And it just jumped up to 50% there for just a spike, but that's 50% of one processing thread out of 6. This computer is crazy fast. It was that when the program updated itself, it didn't register the paths or the caches correctly for the plugins that I already had installed, but did not give me any warning of that. So I got pantsed again in public yesterday on my live stream, and that stuff is so frustrating. Like I said in that stream, you get an audio system error like that, and sometimes it's stuff like that you never expected. And sometimes it's the YouTube server, and sometimes it's maybe my ISP or the user's ISPs. But if the sound goes bad like that, people leave the stream, and sometimes they don't come back. Hey, Alex, this is a MacBook Pro M1 with the Pro M1 chip and 16 gig of memory. Of RAM and 512 gig hard drive. And this computer, while it's 3 years old now and is not as fast as the M4 stuff now, is so much faster than anything I had before, and completely capable of running this. Yeah, Hans, that's what I was just been talking about for the last 3 minutes. Yeah, I had to re-register, tell Logic to basically find and verify and reinitialize all of the plugins, and it did that. And now it's working the way I want. The trouble is, the day before yesterday's stream, I had done a 1-hour test stream. No problem, Hans. And it was working great then too. So this is not entirely reassuring to me that it's working now. I mean, on the one hand, it only happened in the stream yesterday at about the hour and 27 minutes point, but it did that when I turned on the digital plugin channel. But I've been using the same channel with configured differently with different plugins for the amp, and it had no problems. So I'm not sure why it decided to spaz out, and they're running the same plugins. They're both using the Shep 73 preamp and the LA2A limiter. I'm not using it as limiter, I'm using it as compressor. Hey, Keith, good morning. Choosing an overdrive. Yeah, I'm not sure that video ended where I expected it to, because I basically ended up with, hey, this old one that I designed, I really like the way that sounds. But, it's good to see what else is on the market. And some of them on those videos that I tried, I can see why people like them, but I did not. More importantly, where did I order my Tonex T-style guitar? Well, this is a Musicraft Tele, and I thought the headstock looked blank. So it says, let's see if I can get this so you can read it. Block my face. Sonic Blackguard. No illusions that I make. We'll be making guitar. This is a particularly nice one. Yeah, the stem stuff I want to play around with. What was I was listening to yesterday? I need to check the stem on that to see what is actually being played. Oh, I think it was an Elliott Smith song. I don't remember. Anyway, I think there's some cool ways to do it. Hey, Rob Valdivia. We're kind of Valdivia. Sorry. We'll do amp questions next time. This is just working out the audio bugs. Well, I don't have any software on my raw guitar, Ted, but it has to get recorded. And unless you want to fund me to have a MCI tape machine, and you're going to fund me to have some Ampex 486 tape laying around, we've got to have a way of recording. Hey Andy, this is the big boat. This is the U. It's 1 inch all the way down the line. So, in this case, this is the cheat version. This is plugging into a Tonex, plugging into the Motu, and listening to it, though I am adding a preamp and a compressor at the end of it, just so that the levels are more consistent to get a good, the best playback live here. But earlier when I was playing the actual 1965 Deluxe Reverb, that's going into the ET65 with a Royer R10 on it, going to a mic pre that's set very clean. Then I went to a plug-in version of a Neve 1073, a plug-in version of a Purple Audio MC77, which is a variant of the 1176 compressor, then into a LA2A plug-in. So yes, software, but that software is pretty close to what you would be getting in an actual analog studio, minus a good bit of the noise that you'd have on the analog stuff and a huge decrease in the expense. My headphones, zero latency. Well, my headphones give me zero latency out of the Tonex, or out of, in this case, I have them hooked up to the Motu, and I've got the monitor button on the Motu. So I'm hearing this guitar. Let me turn off the gate, which is actually a ducker. I'll let you hear what I'm hearing. I'm hearing this. That's what I'm hearing, but that's behind this mic, and it's in the null, kind of, sort of the mic. So I've got this gate ducking the vocal when I make music, make sounds out of the guitar. So you hear this when I play. So I'm hearing that stuff with no latency. I only have the headphones out when I was making the transitions earlier from this input setup to this input setup, in case I had more. The return of the stuttering nasties. Thanks, Keith. Yeah, this is that SE 4100, and I've really been happy with it. I've already had the SE 8 up here as an overhead for the bench, and for that purpose, I think it's been great because it's off-axis stuff. Being a small diaphragm is very natural. This one is much more focused on the on-axis stuff. So maybe someday I'll do a video comparing the large diaphragm and the small diaphragm. I find them fantastic tools. My thoughts on the Tonex. Hey, foos. The trouble with the Tonex is that everyone in the world can make, and their mother can and does, make a capture, and they upload it to ToneNet. And so there's some really great sounds out there on ToneNet. Most of them are commercial, you have to pay for them. But there's a lot of really good free ones. And then there's just a ton of useless, horrible things where people have no idea how to do the capture, how to set an amp, what sounds good, how to play. And so it's really difficult to wade through all the junk. I think if the best advice I can give someone who just wants to incorporate a Tonex in their rig is to find one company that makes what people rate as good captures, and buy a bunch of the packages from that one company, and see how that one company wants the input level set to get the results, and just use those. So I've been auditioning different things for different companies, and some of the companies, I don't hear things the way I do. Some of them are close but not perfect, but then I disagree with them how they have set the input level, but that gets beyond the level of most people. In terms of just wanting something you can pick up and play, we turn that plate reverb back on, and I'll show you a couple of the basic sounds I've got dialed up for this thing. So let's see. This is Deluxe Reverb, which has reverb on the capture. The other models I'll show don't, so you're gonna be getting double reverb here for a second. So that's the Deluxe Reverb. This is a rec, the capture of a Dr. Z rec. Which I find kind of bright, but I need to play around with it some more. This is a capture of an HC30, which is a matchless. And it's weird. Some of them sound good afterwards, but they feel weird to play. Those two that I just tried, they're not going to make it, I don't think, because they don't give me any dynamic feedback to my right hand. They don't respond the way I expect, so I keep observing myself hearing these things, as opposed to this one. It just feels like what I expect an amp to feel like. Here's a different HC30. Here's a super lead. Here's a different super lead. And here is a Friedman BE100. And here's a different Friedman BE. And here's a twin. And of all those, only the deluxe reverb really sounds to me pretty close to what a deluxe reverb actually sounds and feels like. But I'm a tough audience for this stuff. From some people's perspective, I'm just an utter and complete unbearable snob. But not a lot of people can say, okay, I just played this twin model. Well, I've played a lot of original twins in really good shape. I just played this BE model, the Brown Eye from Friedman. Well, I've played and fixed and spent a lot of time with actual Friedman BEs, and that's not what they sound like. See you, Keith. Thanks for joining us. Same for especially same for the super lead. Same for the HC30. Same for the Z-Rec. Especially true for the deluxe reverb. I know what the real ones sound like, and I know what they feel like, and these don't feel like that except for the deluxe reverb. And I think that the sound that people set when they do these captures tends to be very, for whatever reason, in this extreme or the other, and it's really hard to find a balanced one. But the technology is great. Hey, Martin. Thank you, Shmoofadoop. Shmoofadoop. You're my favorite username. At least of the week. I get some good ones coming through here. Nah, it doesn't surprise me at all they wrote most of the stuff on a Tele, Alex, because he spent most of his time with his main stage guitars having tremolos. So he had collar on the Howard Roberts. He had the Maestro on the 350. He had Strats with Floyds, Strats with very early Floyds. You know, he had the signatures, and then he had the PRS. And if you get back to the hotel room and you just want to play, the Tele's gonna be in tune. No one got the pun again. Where was your pun? I don't see your pun. Keska. And I missed Keith's question about, are we worried about the channel strip plugins increasing processing load? I think if he watches back, I think if he watches this back, he'll see that I did get to that. Oh, Telecaster, qu'est-ce que c'est? Fa 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 fa. Telecaster, qu'est-ce que c'est? All right. That I'm gonna go backwards on how I did this stream now. Now I'm gonna go from the digital stuff back to the amp, back to nothing, and see if we have any audio issues. And see how quickly I can make this happen. Most of this is because I'm having to use the input 2 of my Motu for either microphone or for the audio stuff. So, I need to get a 4 input so that I can leave the stuff permanently connected and then just push up one button and all the swapping around happens. But this should be, if not perfect, I may need to tweak the pre. This should be pretty darn close right here to where we want to be if I do this. Come on, Logic. You know you want to. And I'll even give it some reverb. Hey, Bambule. Alex, avoid the twin reverb 2. It's like 81, 83, and it's the beginning of the creeping 80s accountants of death period. And that just feels, forget about the sound difference. It just feels so much better than any of the modeling stuff. And the modeling stuff tends to be, hey, I need to make it, the whole thing, brighter for this pickup or darker for that pickup. I don't know. It just doesn't respond to guitars yet the way actual amps do. Joe just purchased a 74 Marshall Super Lead Mark II. Got a fan installed the side. Original than that. No, won't hurt any problems to have the fan in there. You can leave it in, or you can leave it in but disconnect it, or you can remove it. It won't hurt a thing. You just got some extra holes. C'est une guitare qui montre lui-même. Plus ça change. It sounds so good, you know? All right, and then to go from all that, turn the amp off, turn the amp stuff off. Now we just have the one microphone, minimal processing, and if I want to pick up a guitar and noodle on a stream, you'll hear it in the back as I speak. And if I want you to really hear it, that might have been a little bit loud. This guitar is a lot louder than my voice, at least my speaking voice. Yeah, I get as much sun as possible. Gotta maintain that farmer's tan. I tan very easily, so it doesn't take a lot. It just means I need to do something to even this out because it's gonna be blinding white. I'll be 3 shades darker by mid-June, and then the white bits will look like naked snails, slug bellies, something else that's really sexy that I'll probably regret having said on in front of people. Leo got it right the first time. Yeah, he really did. And he got it right the second time and the third time with the Strat and the P bass. Just my, was it Keith I was talking to the other day? I think it was Keith. It might have been Jeff. I think it was Keith. It's just amazing that Leo's first produced electric guitar was the Telecaster, and right out of the gate, it was just banging. It was just perfect. And then the second one, the Strat, another one, just out of nowhere. It was like Athena coming out of the forehead of Zeus, just fully formed. I won't get into the jazz master aesthetical stumbles and my quibbles with some of the G&L aesthetics, but my God, even if it did nothing else, just to invent the Telly and the Strat, it's amazing. Yeah, Daniel, just get a Bella. He'll be much happier. It's going to be a better amp. 50 pounds, get a trolley if that's a hassle. You know, I used to carry PV TNT 400 bass amps and help. I was always the biggest guy in the band, so I get lumbered carrying the drum hardware bag up, 3 flights of stairs to play a club for $30. So, 50 pounds. I'm definitely not the right guy to ask for tea and sympathy about how heavy an amp is, because I don't know. I think I just grew up we were a generation of idiotic daredevils where everything we saw Evel Knievel and Fonzie do on TV on their motorcycles, we did on our 1975 Heavy S steel Schwinns, on broken up sidewalk using flimsy bits of old rain logged plywood to make our ramps so we could jump over our friends. And we're still here for the most part, and don't really have the original skin on our original knees anymore. But jump up, Buttercup, walk it off. So yeah, looking for a band. Yeah, well, I want to play in a band. I think everyone just wants me to be a roadie. So I think we're about wrapped up here. I just want to do a serious hour-long stream with people here and monitoring. And this thing says that the stream health has been excellent in YouTube, and my performance meter in Logic has never exceeded 27% on the main thread, and it's down to like I would assume about 15 now. It's not a very accurate scale, but I shouldn't have to worry until any of them gets over 70 ish. If I were looking for a laptop to run Pro Tools on, what would be my recommendation? Well, it's real easy. The same one I gave to another YouTuber this week, especially given the price today. If you just wanted to get started, but something that you would not outgrow, you want to go get an M4 Mac Air with 16 gig of RAM and 512 gig hard drive. That's the minimum. You can get the MacBook Pro, or you can get the Mac Mini Studio. You can get all these things, but for right now, the 13-inch version, you could always get an external monitor, which is what I've got here connected to my big MacBook. But the 13-inch MacBook Air M4 is like $1,000, and it's more powerful than what I've got here, which was $3,000 2.5 years ago. It'll run anything that you need. You'll later want to get an external dock set up so that all your connections go to it and all that. But it's a scalable system, and you would never not have a use for that. So for $1,000 today, you can get a system that would have been. The fastest computer of its time has. Available at any one time in a laptop format has usually been a $3,000 to $5,000 proposition. That $1,000 laptop today is more powerful than the $5,000 laptop of 2 years ago. It's insane in a good way. All was perfect. Yeah. Yeah. The mini stuff is great as well. What I did is I started with a MacBook Pro. I've got the M1, and I've got that in a stand. It almost never comes out of the stand unless I'm traveling. And I've got the big 32-inch 4K monitor. And later, if I get the M4 or M5 or whatever mini or studio and move all my production to it, I'll already have the keyboards, I already have the Stream Deck, I already have the speakers and the monitor, and then my MacBook will not be obsolete. It'll still work with that whole system. It's amazing, yeah. Less than $1,000 and capable as F. Yes, absolutely. That's the way to go. There's no contender. The only PC Windows, or if you want Unix equivalent to that, would be some of the stuff that Dell's got out for $3,000-$4,000. And if you want to pay extra just so you can avoid Mac, go for it. But the Mac Air M4 is just staggeringly good, and it's cool. But don't never buy a Mac and then expect to change out or upgrade the stuff. And I would not upgrade the internal hard drive to more than 512 because the prices are crazy. And for most of what you actually will do in music production, you just want to store your programs and stuff on the local hard drive. This 2 terabyte external SanDisk is fast as hell, and I'm doing a big digital video editing thing. I have all the files on here, so I can access all the files, and it's perfectly fast enough for Pro Tools, or in my case, DaVinci Resolve video editing. But it does fill up my 512 gig hard drive. So 512, did I say 512 meg? No, 512 gig hard drive is the size that you want for most people, because you can always get external drives for less money than Apple charges for a larger internal drive because of cooling things. So that's the way to do it. Anyway, gotta go. Thank you very much for being here. I need to look at this back and make sure that everything happened as I like, and that I'm liking the overall sound. I know that a couple times I forgot and made some noise on the guitar while I was trying to speak and probably gated myself, but that's user error. As long as we don't get that stuttery thing from yesterday, we're golden. So thank you all. I'm going to do the official sign off. Ignore the like button. I just wanted to get to this before I got to the thanks for watching thing.